I've had doctors look at me in my face like, we don't know how you're still here. Like, you've arrived too late. The 12 tribes, like I was really but somewhere 10 to 12.
Nick Cannon's family, or number of children better yet, has become the meme of the year after he just announced his 12th child, with 5 of these babies being announced just this year. And don't worry, there's still plenty of time left in the year for a couple more, if he plans on going at this rate. Even huge corporations have weighed in. Don't worry, Nick Cannon, we don't limit kids' meals. To which he replied, cool, we're gonna need 12 orders of the baby back ribs. Don't worry, Nick Cannon, we have space for all of your baby toys. To which he replies, definitely gonna need an extra large unit. These are just 2 of the many companies using Nick Cannon and the number of children he has to promote their product or service. And Nick Cannon doesn't seem too bothered publicly, judging by his response. But what if there was a deeper, darker, and more sad reason for why Nick Cannon has been dropping more children this year than Kendrick Lamar has dropped albums the past 10 years? Nick Cannon has become the poster boy of a celebrity male having many different children with different women. Although his situation really shouldn't be getting the attention it does, in contrast with other individuals like Future, for instance, who has had 8 or 9 children, each with different women. Chief Keef, who has had 9 or 10 children, each with different women, and even NBA Youngboy, who I would say is probably in second place on the attention list of their offspring with 12, maybe 13 children now, many of them being with different mothers. Keep in mind that NBA Youngboy is only 23 years old, accomplishing this feat. Chief Keef is currently 27 years old and had most, if not all, of these children before 25, and Nick Cannon is 40, with 10 of his 12 children being born in the past 5 years. But let's get into the slightly complicated Nick Cannon family tree, explore when he started having children, and attempt to dive into his mind and possible reasoning for why he's having so many now and not before. You see, Nick Cannon's been a star since he was a teenager, with appearances on the show All That, following it up with his own show on Nickelodeon, The Nick Cannon Show, and releasing his own music during that time, even an appearance on a Romeo Miller track too. So he could have been irresponsible and had a child early on in his life, with the money, fame, and access to women, which is what happens to many celebrities, athletes, and music artists. But he didn't. He had self-control, and he wouldn't even have his first child until after he married superstar Mariah Carey in 2008. In 2011, at the age of 31, Nick Cannon would become a father for the first time to a set of twins, boy and girl, named Moroccan and Monroe. He would separate from Mariah Carey in 2014, and their divorce was finalized in 2016, with no additional children in that marriage. But it wasn't long after the divorce was finalized that Nick Cannon had his third child, in February of 2017, with former pageant queen Brittany Bell. He welcomed him with an Instagram post saying, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. No matter how hard the world may hit you, God always reminds us of our purpose. Welcome to Earth, son. Golden Sagan Cannon." 2/21/2017. In an interview with The Breakfast Club, he said, "God said be fruitful and multiply. I'm doing the Lord's work." Little did they know, he was going to begin doing a lot of what he claims is the Lord's work. Cannon would take a several-year break from his subscription to Stork Prime. When everyone was locked up in their homes in 2020, though, that's what the timetable would suggest led to Nick Cannon's 4th child, his second with Brittany Bell. That would be announced in June of 2020 with an Instagram post of their son with a Big Brother sign on his cape, captioned, "And now you know. We are so happy." His daughter, Powerful Queen, was born on December 23, 2020, and they welcomed her with a Christmas post on Instagram, captioned, "The best gift ever we have been surprised with, a girl, Powerful Queen Cannon, came this week, perfect timing for Christmas. So much more to share. All I can say is that Nick was my rock through the most intense yet empowering natural water birth. It was nothing but powerful. Merry Christmas. Thank you, God." At this point, it seemed to the public that Nick Cannon was building another family, the traditional view of a family, with Brittany Bell. This was his second child with her, the first was years prior, so people naturally assumed they were a couple, given Nick Cannon's past long-term monogamous relationship with Mariah Carey. But a wrench was thrown in fans' perceptions of Nick Cannon when he announced baby number 5 and 6, with mother number 3, Abby De La Rosa. In 2020, the man who is now my children's father and I reconnected. Never would I ever envisioned where we are at now. This isn't a BS love story. It's a real story. His openness and honesty won my heart, but above everything, he's my dearest friend and my partner in this world of mine. He changed my life in all the most unconventional ways, inspiring me to open my mind to the unknown when it came to loving outside of labels and ownership. Unfortunately for them, they had a miscarriage, to which she addressed saying, "He was so sweet through it all, reassuring me that what we've manifested will come to fruition," she wrote. Now fast forward to the morning of my birthday, October 25th, I find out that I'm pregnant. Then a month later, I find out it was with twins. She went on to share in February that her baby daddy did his thing in a now edited caption that's just rose emojis, filling her house with red and purple balloons. "My love," she captioned one video. "I'm so thankful." They welcomed twins on June 16th, 2021, which she posted holding both boys with the caption, "June 14th, 2021, welcome to the world, Zion Mixolydian Cannon and Zillion Air Cannon." However, during the pregnancy for Abby De La Rosa with twins, there was an announcement for another woman that was pregnant in January 2021. Same time. It was only over a week later from the birth of his twins with Abby De La Rosa that Nick Cannon welcomed his 7th child, this time with mother number 4, model Alyssa Scott, who also worked at Wild 'N Out. Unfortunately for them, their baby Zen would pass away after only 5 months from brain cancer.
Having the last, holding my son for the last time. But it was a beautiful setting.
About a year later, June of 2022, Nick Cannon announced his 8th child with the 5th mother, Bree Tiesi. She was the first to announce it on her Instagram saying, "Legendary Love Cannon, 8 pounds, 10 ounces, June 28th, 1:28 a.m. Barely 48 hours old here." During Bree's pregnancy is when people began throwing rumors, and it got a little bit dark around Nick Cannon's paternity choices. In February 17th, 2022, he responded to a lot of comments in an interview. After Dr. Berman asked if most of these pregnancies were unplanned, Cannon replied, "I'm never going to say that. I'm going to take full responsibility," he added. "Any woman that I know that I have unprotected sex with, there's the potential to have a child. So I feel like if I have unprotected sex with anyone I know, because one, I value everything about me so much, if I've gotten to that point where I say I can take off this condom, I'm going to say she could be the mother of my child," Cannon continued.
There's a lot of people I could have got pregnant that I didn't.
Okay, but just have fun, continue to have fun.
The ones that was supposed to get pregnant.
Nick Cannon wouldn't get his first big hit piece on him until his Twitter exchange with Elon Musk earlier this year. "Doing my best to help the underpopulation crisis. A collapsing birth rate is the biggest danger civilization faces by far." And Nick responds, "Right there with you, my brother. Congrats on your family. We must expand scope and scale of consciousness for civilization to flourish and understand nature of universe. Consciousness resides most strongly in humans, therefore we need more people. Kids are worth it, if at all possible. I'm planning to increase childcare benefits at my company significantly. Hopefully other companies do the same. Also, Musk Foundation plans to donate directly to families. Hopefully details to be announced next month." How could this quite innocent exchange, at the most comical, lead to someone spinning a narrative on both of these men? Well, hear it from Meghan McCain's own writing. "This may be the creepiest tag team tweet thread in history. This is flat out weird. If you look at the timeline of the births of Musk's children, you'll see he had a son with singer Grimes in May 2020, then twins with Zillis in November 2021, and then a daughter via surrogate with Grimes in December 2021. So he apparently had simultaneous pregnancies going on. Cannon fathered 4 babies in a year's time and then jokingly referred to his manner of procreation as akin to a seahorse. If you don't know how a seahorse procreates, Google it. This impregnate the planet mentality is creepy and comes off like the actions of a cult leader more than an altruistic person who wants to expand their family and save the planet. Let's take her feeling and extrapolate it into the actual definition we have for a cult. which is a system of religious veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object. There's none of this going on with Nick Cannon, as far as we know. None of his baby mothers are part of some religion he created that we know of. They don't worship him as some god, as far as we know. And one of the most important parts of a cult, all of them being in the same living situation / environment, isn't even true either. So this is the furthest thing from a cult. None of this stopped Nick Cannon or even slowed him down. If anything, it accelerated the process. It came out that mother number 6, Lanisha Cole, was pregnant at the same time as Bree Tiesi. I'm still struggling to figure out how to pronounce her name. And they welcomed their son, Nick Cannon's 9th child, on a September 15th Instagram post captioned, "Introducing Onyx Ice Cole Cannon. Once again, today I'm in awe of the divine feminine. God has given me and Miss Lanisha Cole the privilege of hosting an angel here on earth. I vow to protect, provide, guide, and love this child to the best of my abilities. In this moment of celebration and jubilee, I wish to mute any low vibrational frequencies and only rejoice with the highest class of civilization who are truly aligned with our purpose here in this dimension. We all learn so much from these angels we call children. I'm learning that it is not the limited amount of time we have on this planet, but it's the limited amount of love that is the issue. And I promise to love this little girl with all my heart, regardless what anyone says. I've given up on attempting to define myself for the world or society, but instead I'm doing the work to heal and grow into the infinite being God ordained me to be. Hopefully I can teach Onyx the same, to not let others shame or ridicule her with their outside opinions. Because when they do, they're only projecting their own harsh experiences, pain, and social programming into her unblemished beauty. As we all know, I'm not easily triggered, and have quite tough skin and have always been an open book. But not everyone in my family has that same level of strength. So I pray and ask others to please project all criticism and cynicism towards me and not the loving and precious mothers of my children. Miss Lanisha Cole is one of the most guileless, peaceful, and non-confrontational kind souls I've ever witnessed, and only deserves to revel in this moment of blissful joy of motherhood. Please give her that. She is so loving and pure-hearted. As for me, if you're truly concerned during this time of spiritual warfare, my inner struggles with self, mental wellness, and physical health concerns, just continue to pray for me and my entire family that God will grant us peace that surpasses all understanding. This is the first baby reveal post where Nick Cannon has addressed the continuous comments, criticisms, and sometimes hatred in a rather verbose way for him having all these children with different women. This is also the first where it may give an ounce of validity to the reporter's piece calling it a cult, just from the continued theme of this being spiritual, vibrational, chosen, and many other buzzwords New Age religions like to use to justify their unconventional life choices. With all that being said, it was barely a week after this announcement and birth that Nick Cannon put up a post welcoming baby number 10 with mother number 2, Brittany Bell, their third together, and the following Instagram reel captioned, "Another blessing. As my journey on this planet becomes more and more remarkable and unfathomable, all I can do is thank God and continue to ask the Most High to order my steps. He has given me stewardship and dominion over a family dynamic that to some is unimaginable. But more importantly, He has blessed me with loving individuals to guide me with care through this purposeful life. I'm so indebted and grateful for the matriarch energy in my time of need. At Miss B. Bell has been the rock and foundation of my fatherhood journey. She has taught me so much about parenting, psychology, spirituality, love, and just life in general. For our third child, she told me she didn't want a baby shower and needed nothing. All she desired was prayer from her authentic loved ones. I'm learning that is the best gift. She introduced me to the concept of a blessing way. As you can see in the video, a bunch of powerful prayer warriors interceding for our new child's entrance to earth. And boy did we need it. Probably the most difficult labor and delivery I've ever witnessed. 48 hours of excruciating pain and life-risking danger to welcome 10 pounds of love and joy named Rise Messiah Cannon. Thank you, Brittany, for my fellow little Libra. I love you and our incredible family." Nick Cannon would welcome his 11th child just the other day, on November 11th, with Abby De La Rosa, his third child with her in 2 years. The Instagram post read, 11/11/2022. A beautiful day for beautiful Zeppelin Cannon to arrive. Mommy, hi Abby De La Rosa, I love you. You make it all look so easy and effortless, but I'm forever indebted to your tireless work of constant dedication, diligent effort, and selfless love that you give to our children and myself. Beauty is privileged to have such a loving and spiritually inclined mother, Your resilience and strength doesn't go unnoticed. Watching you smile through the world's madness and my constant craziness is so impressive. Not a day goes by that I'm not filled with gratitude for all your care, words of affirmation, kindness, and inspiration. Thank you, if I don't say it enough. You are the definition of steadfast and virtuous, and it is my continued duty to make you and our children feel valued and protected every single day. Beautiful Zeppelin, aka BZC, aka Busy Bee. Get ready because the world is yours. Daddy loves you. Hashtag our family. And it's not over because there was just a recent announcement that baby number 12 is scheduled to be born in December with Alyssa Scott, who he had the baby that unfortunately passed away with. Now this is all very counterintuitive, abnormal, and certainly receiving tons of criticism, but it's important to look at the underlying reasons for why Nick Cannon potentially decided to change how he handles relationships entirely, as well as why he would want to have as many children as possible. There are tons of celebrity men that choose to be players, having multiple women at a time, but it's rare that they're ever impregnating most, if even all of them. The contrary is usually the case, and they would like to avoid impregnating any of them. Or the other situation is someone getting married and having many children, but someone intentionally having many children with different women is very, very rare, especially at the level that Nick Cannon is at. The way Nick Cannon looks at relationships is going to dictate why he would even want to go through what he's going through right now. And looking through several interviews, his view is interesting, to say the least. He makes the case on T.I.'s podcast that marriage is made for women.
I believe relationships and mainly marriage is designed to please women.
He goes on to expand on this in an interview with The Breakfast Club.
I mean, because that's a Eurocentric concept when you think about the ideas of you're supposed to have this one person for the rest of your life, and really that's just a classified property when you think about it. I mean, when you go into that mindset, if we really talking that talk, just the idea that a man should have one woman. We shouldn't have anything. I have no ownership over this person.
Disregarding the fact that a lot of what Nick Cannon said about this is misinformation, such as marriage being a Eurocentric concept, when there's plenty of historical-based evidence that marriage has existed in ancient civilization, both Eastern all the way until China, to ancient Africa, even down to ancient Mayan civilizations. Parts of the world that had no contact with Europeans were already practicing the concept of marriage. Another interesting point Nick Cannon makes is when he talks about ownership and property, saying he doesn't own any of the women he's having children with. I wish one of the interviewers would push back and say how he would approach it if one of the women he's having children with consistently were to get pregnant by another male. Would he continue to impregnate her? Or would he feel a sense of ownership that she had only given him children and is supposed to be with him moving forward? Then there's the point of the father giving the daughter away for land. This is still practiced, more so as a dowry, and even in marriage culture in the West, it's the same thing, which is a very expensive ring, just marketed differently. How is a father supposed to know a suitor was serious about marrying his daughter and staying with her if he wasn't willing to give something valuable to begin with? Otherwise, there's no incentive, which leaves the daughter in a terrifying position, historically speaking, if she were to get pregnant and he would just leave, which is still a possibility, but at least she would have whatever he gave her as dowry to fall back on. Nick Cannon gets a little deeper on the T.I. podcast when he makes this statement.
I have a condition that stress puts me in the hospital, on some lupus type shit. And to me, all relationships equal stress. I ain't never been in a relationship that wasn't stressful. Ever since I've been out of relationships, I haven't been back in the hospital.
You know what?
I believe this is the most important but least talked about reason for why Nick Cannon is behaving in the way that he's behaving and rationalizing it behind populating Earth or trying a new family structure. We've seen unorthodox family structures in Hollywood, namely Will and Jada Smith and how their children turned out. I don't think Nick Cannon is too concerned with that future because, in his own words, he's more concerned with the now.
I don't think about the future anymore. I want to live in the moment in a way that this might be my last moment.
And by the looks of it, it seems like what he wanted to get popping right now, over 12 times, was the baby making process. In 2012, Nick Cannon was going through some severe health issues. He was hospitalized with kidney failure and documented some of it on a series he had on his website.
In the hospital, hopefully one of my last few visits, and No, it is what it is. Got the IV in the arm. The medicine infusion stuff. Y'all see that? Y'all see them all swollen on my face. Some people say it looks good. I'd rather get back to chisel. But we gonna make it happen. Y'all gonna be with me through this entire journey.
He would continue documenting his journey on a series called Incredible Health Hustle, suffering from this pain and what he didn't even know was going to be a health condition.
No six-pack in sight whatsoever. It's just all gut jiggling.
For now, it's not forever.
You guys hear my wife in the background?
Stop acting like this forever.
I know, we getting the Incredible Health Hustle up.
Okay, but you can't hustle too much now. Hustle back to the... Are you filming me?
I wasn't filming.
Don't film me.
I can't see you.
I saw you filming me. Edit that out.
All right.
He wouldn't let this stop him from work, though. He had a comedy show to perform at, as well as hosting the 2012 Super Bowl, which he wasn't going to miss, despite the pain he was in.
This weekend was the Super Bowl. I had planned on being out there with y'all and showing you guys my workout out there. I was just in pain the whole time. I got there Thursday, tried to do a comedy show. Didn't go so well.
My immune system was the police, and my kidneys was some niggas. And the police thought my kidneys was in the wrong neighborhood. Like, they thought they was over there in Karma. Like, nigga, you do not belong here.
I could barely walk. I couldn't think of the right things to come out.
No matter what the plot was, they always solved it by dancing. Right?
I mean, I thought I was disguising it pretty well, but apparently the audience picked up on it and didn't have the best set, you know.
Trying to say, I'm trying to get my kidneys back, y'all.
Got booed off the stage. But that didn't even really matter because I was just thinking like, dang, I gotta get through this pain, And for the rest of the time, I just kind of got through it, dealt with it, because I knew I had to do the Super Bowl corresponding on the game day, and I was just like, I just got to get through this, because if I cancel this, then so many people are going to start speculating that there's so much more wrong. So I got through it. It was cool.
But the exhaustion he was putting himself through, lack of sleep, and continued travel led him to be hospitalized again with a near-death experience.
They found 2 blood clots in my lungs. Really life-threatening. Unexpected, but you know what you're supposed to do. It's a hurdle in the Incredible Health Hustle, but we're gonna be alright. It's the last place you want to be, man. Doctors tell you gotta rush you in, could die. And I'm in this room by myself, just reflecting, thinking.
He had no idea what it was at this time. Originally, it was a kidney issue, but now something was wrong with his lungs.
What happens in this situation is that, there are a lot of reasons. You know, people that go on airplanes can get PEs.
Yeah.
Because you sit,
don't move
around a lot, and the vena, usually in the legs, the blood clots, and when it clots, it can go up to your heart and be thrown out to your lung.
Right.
And those clots just go like a bunch of goop there, and it can cause injury to the lung. And sometimes they're very big. You know, it can be worse. They can be fatal.
What the doctor described as a PE is short for pulmonary embolism, which is when a blood clot gets stuck in an artery that blocks blood flow to the lungs and can be fatal if not treated quickly. Nick Cannon would soon after find out that these weren't isolated health issues, but part of a condition called lupus.
I'll try to break it down for people and explain to them what lupus is. It's an autoimmune condition that I was diagnosed with in 2012. My immune system, which is built to protect me, is overactive. When it doesn't find any sickness in my body, it begins to attack my organs. And it happens within, so sometimes you can't even understand, but there's times where, you know, I wake up in the morning and I can't move, and my body it's like paralysis, like where I have to, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to even get feeling in my fingers, and have to like get myself up. And those are probably more of the extreme cases. Lupus is the episodes or the flare-ups. Your system, your blood's not functioning properly, and it's like a bubble that gets in your blood, and once that bubble of air gets to your vital organs, it's usually over. And you know, I've had, since my battle with lupus, I've probably had almost a half a dozen pulmonary embolisms. I remember the initial one, which we found in 2012, was 3 at once, where I had them in my lungs and one even in my heart. Usually when those get to that place, it's over.
Another famous celebrity that has lupus is Selena Gomez, whose kidney condition had gotten so bad she needed a transplant. Lupus doesn't have a cure. Nick Cannon has been living with this for over 10 years now, and he doesn't know when his time may be up. It's something to be admired that he's able to be so positive all of the time when he's going through what he goes through, and perhaps why he doesn't allow himself to get too stressed with people's criticisms about his relationship and familial choices, considering that stress would lead to him having poor health condition.
And that's the thing about, even when they find blood clots, they can't get rid of the blood clots. All they can do is give you medicine to prevent other ones, but then they give you all of these steroids and stuff to keep you living. So saying that, and having faced death so many times, and had blood transfusions and chemo and all this stuff, and still be able to wear a smile each and every day and know how blessed I am to actually be here, it gives me a whole different perspective on life.
For someone who self-admittedly says that he lives every day in its moment and doesn't look towards the future, is it any surprise that he's trying to have as many children as possible without much concern of how this may affect them in the future? It could be for legacy, it could be for selfish pleasure, it could be disregarding the future of the children, or it could be something else entirely. But one thing is true, and that's the fact that there's more to the story about Nick Cannon's children than someone who's just irresponsibly populating the earth with any and everyone that's willing to do so.